If you're thinking about taking a leap and going to a new city, let this be your sign to do it. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am Noelle. I live in Chicago and I have moved around quite a bit. I'm 26 years old and in my adult life, I've lived in 6 different cities. So today I'm going to be talking about how to move to a new city all by yourself. I took a few notes of the things that I could think of off the top of my head that have just made my moving to a new city alone experience go pleasantly. So I'm just going to kind of go over the pros and cons and kind of how I went about it. I have now been living in Chicago for an entire year. Absolutely insane. It went by so quickly. And I was talking to one of my friends the other day about she recently moved here and another one of my friends who kind of also recently moved here, and they're not necessarily finding the transition to be the easiest, and moving to a new place is a lot and it can be a lot. And I feel like my biggest takeaway from this entire year is to tell people to give it time, because right when you first move somewhere, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be the best experience of your entire life. You're not going to be happy all the time. It's going to be stressful. It's going to be lonely. It's going to be uncomfortable because it's a new situation that you're putting yourself in. But like they say, there's no growth in the comfort zone. And I really go back and think about it because I didn't know anyone when I first moved here. My brother was here, but he was living on the other part of the city, and for the first 4 months I was living here, I really didn't see people. I didn't really have any friends, and I was very busy with work and my move, and I had people visiting, but in reality, I did not have any friends here. So I was doing a lot of things on my own, which I'm not used to being on my own. I've lived with my best friend for 7 years, so all of a sudden going from that and having one person to do everything with, and then going to doing things completely alone in a city I don't know anyone. I remember specifically in January of last year, I was walking over to Millennium Park and there's a big skating rink, and I was just like, I cannot wait till next year when I have friends and I can go ice skating with them and I'm not alone. So I just kind of remember that initial few months were kind of lonely, not in a sad way, in a just adjusting to a new city. I was kind of alone for the first time in my entire life. I was spending a lot of time by myself, and I also work completely alone. I'm self-employed, so I'm not in an office. I'm at home for work. I had to find ways to integrate my life into the community and put myself out there, because when you work from home and you live alone, there's a lot of alone time, and unless I put myself out there to find friends, I knew it was going to stay that way. So after I kind of got settled, the first 2-3 months, I was like, okay, it's time. I'm going to go find some ways that I can kind of find myself within this community and find friends. The way that I kind of combated being alone a lot is I utilized FaceTime. I had a lot of FaceTime dates with my friends that lived in different places. I had a lot of visitors come and see me, which also helped because then I was able to go and do stuff with them. I went on actual dates because for some reason for me it's easier to meet a guy and kind of run around a city and experience new things with a guy rather than it is when I was trying to actually establish friendships. I feel like women's connections are just deeper sometimes, so it takes a little bit longer to establish those. So right in the beginning I was going on a few dates, which was really fun because I was kind of running around the city. One of the guys that I went on a date with was also new to the city, so we were kind of figuring it out together. Just stuff like that that kind of made those first few months that are relatively going to be lonely, which is so completely normal, and the important part is to get through that part. So I would say month 4 was when I started kind of making friends. I had girls reach out to me on Instagram. I reached out to people on Instagram. A lot of my friends, even when I was living in Denver and in London, I met through Instagram or through TikTok or just through social media of some sort. I feel like people are really receptive when you send messages and kind of put yourself out there and see if they're also trying to make friends. In reality, we're all just trying to form connections, so I feel like it's not that big of a deal to reach out to people. And I did end up making some friends via social media. I ended up getting together with them. Making friends as an adult is also kind of like dating. You're going out with people and you're kind of getting to know them to see if you would be good friends, if your lifestyles are compatible, if your schedules are compatible, if things you like to do are the same. So it is in a sense kind of like dating. And with that, it's also very similar to a lot of the times it's not going to work out. I met a lot of girls that were so cool, so fun. I got to know them, and either maybe our schedules just didn't line up. I had a lot of friends that I work a very weird schedule. I'm not in a normal 9 to 5, so maybe they are, or maybe they work different types of shifts, and our schedules just never really aligned, so we were not really able to spend time with each other, and therefore it's we just didn't really ever make plans again, which is totally fine. Nothing against them. It's just kind of like with all things in life, you have to get to know someone and see if you want to let them into your circle. Even as an adult, I feel like I am definitely more of a quality person over quantity, so I just really wanted to meet like 2 or 3 friends that I could spend a lot of my time with. Not even a lot of my time, but like if I was going to spend time with people, those are the people I wanted to invest in rather than having a bunch of friends all over the city. So really, if you try to make friends and it doesn't work out with the friends, don't take it that seriously, don't take it to heart. It's nothing that you did. It's probably just like a simple lifestyle compatibility issue. The first couple months, I met a lot of girls. We were going out, we were going on walks, we were on the lakefront, we were doing the river walk, we were meeting for all sorts of activities. So fun. It was so fun to get to know all of them. A couple of them stuck, and like these are the girls that I spend all of my time with, which is amazing, and it took time to build those relationships. I'm now a year in and I feel like I have a solid friend group here, but it really did take time. So if that's not something that happens for you right away, like I said, you gotta see it through. Don't give up on it. And it's just something that's going to develop over a period of time. Also, month like 4 through 8 is kind of this period that I'm thinking of, which was basically April, May through August. So the summer months in Chicago, which if you've ever been to Chicago, you know that Chicago thrives in the summer. There was so much to do, and I feel like I had enough variety of friends to do all the things that I wanted to do with. So like we would go on the walks, we would go to the river walk, we would go boating, we would go to the festivals, we went to the farmer's market. I had a good solid group of friends where I was spending a lot of time with them and we got to know each other that way. But I did more in that period to be social than I have probably since college, which is insane. So I really had to put myself out there and make sure I was being social during these very social months of the city, to make sure that I have those solid friend groups now going into winter when we're like hunkered down, we're hibernating a little bit. We have those people that we want to spend time with. So it really is like dating, and that's kind of what it seems like. But that in itself, it just took a long time to establish those relationships. And some of those friends that I met, I did mention, like through social media. I had some friends that I reconnected with from college, which was super fun. I met friends through mutual friends. I met girls through some of the guys that I was dating, which is kind of funny. Just reconnecting with old friends that I hadn't seen in a while. All great ways to make friends. I have like my girl group here, and then my brother and I kind of have like an overlapping friend group. So I kind of hang out with the girls separately sometimes, but they do like a weekly dinner that I get to go to, which is so fun. I also, in this period of time, mostly because it was summer, but mostly because I was trying to put myself out there, I was dating a lot. I mean, a lot is a relative term, of course, but I went on quite a few dates. I was seeing guys for like a good chunk of time within those periods. In general, my goal for this period was I kind of spent the first 4 months acclimating, moving, establishing myself and my routine, and then these next few months was saying yes to every opportunity that I could. When you're moving to a new place, it's okay to take your time, and not everything has to happen at once, which is something that I kind of struggled with, is because I really wanted to just go. But just taking your time. Take your time. You have to be willing to put yourself out there. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be uncomfortable to make friends, to date, to find new opportunities within the community. I joined a Pilates studio and I just decided to stick with the same one. I liked their classes, so now at this point, like, I know all the instructors, I know all the front desk girls, I know the owner of it. When I go in, I have a little built-in community of something that's focused on wellness, which I really enjoy. But the best way to find yourself within a city and fall in love with a city is finding your community within the city, and that's going to take effort and that's going to take time. So making sure that you just stick through it to see that out, I think, is my biggest piece of advice. It's going to be awkward, it's going to be hard, it's going to be lonely, it's going to be all of the things, but once you stick it through, find your community, you find your people, you find your job, your workflow, your routine, and that's when you really start to fall in love with the actual city and where you live. This could be advice for any city that you're moving to, any place that you're moving to. Now I'm kind of finally in that like 9 to 12 month range. I'm coming up on 1 year in Chicago here, and like I was saying, it kind of finally feels like a place that I can call home. I have my established friend groups, which I'm always, willing to meet new people and still put myself out there in that way, but I do have a really good community here. I have my regular spots that I go to. I have my grocery store, I have my Pilates studio, I have my favorite restaurants that I go to, which in Chicago could be literally anywhere. There's so many options. But like a favorite coffee shop, it's like the little things that you can find within your community that makes the space feel like home. That was kind of like a brief overview of how my 12 months living in a new city where I didn't know anybody kind of went. I think if I wanted anyone to take something away from this video is that it's okay not to feel completely in love with your decision right in the beginning, but to make sure that you just stick it out and try to put yourself out there and try to do all of these things, make you feel like you made the right decision. And maybe that spot is just not for you, but if you're feeling discouraged because you've been in a place for 2 months, 3 months, and you haven't made any friends, that is so completely normal. You have to be willing to put yourself through this uncomfortable situation in order for growth to happen. Some things are easier than others. It really just depends on you and your personality as well. I'm a super extroverted person. I love being around people, so moving somewhere by myself and living alone for the first time was definitely something new for me. But I feel like I've done more self-development in this year than I ever have before, so it's definitely been worth it. In conclusion, if you are thinking about moving to a new city, I just want you to keep those things in mind. Not everything's going to happen right away. You're not going to probably fall in love with where you live right away, but every good thing takes time and it takes effort, and you got to put yourself out there. You're gonna grow, you're gonna learn from it, it's gonna be an awesome experience, but give it time. I'm switching my content from majority of Instagram and TikTok to longer form on YouTube, so if you could subscribe, leave a comment, like the video, that would be much appreciated, and I would be very grateful. I'm excited to build a community on here. Party people, it is time to go. I gotta go get on with the rest of my day, so I will see you guys in my next video.